guys, my name's Bethany Turner, and I'm really excited to be on Carla's blog today, kind of sharing a little bit of my writing process and what that looks like for me. I'm here in my writing space right now, which is basically tons of pop culture, a lot of Colin Firth, and character inspiration, and different things that kind of evoke where my head usually goes in books, which is pop culture and rom-com and things like that. But what I want to really talk about with you is some research that I've gotten to do, and kind of how I get in my character's head as far as their living environment. I didn't do this with The Secret Life of Sarah Hollenbeck, this being what I'm about to tell you. But with Wooing Cadie McCaffrey, it really became so important to me, this book. It became so important to me to get in Cadie's head. I really kind of had a little difficulty getting to know her in the beginning. And I think that was the difference, actually. With Sarah Hollenbeck, for whatever reason, she was just kind of downloaded into my brain and I knew her instantly. With Cadie, I didn't really feel that way. And I knew the story, but I didn't really have Cadie in my head yet. So what I did was started something that now I think I will always do, which was I had to find her living space. Sarah lived in Chicago, and I knew the part of town she lived in, and I knew the basic idea of it all. But with Cadie, she's a New Yorker, and it was just important to me that I understood her rhythm of life that kind of went with being a New Yorker. And so I got the opportunity actually to go to New York twice in the process of this book. I live in Colorado, so not an easy thing to do, but managed to work it out. So that first time that I went to New York, I was just beginning to write the story. But by that time, I had already picked out where Cadie lived, and I mean, I knew she lived in Greenwich Village, but I went beyond that. I knew her address, 396 Bleecker Street. I had seen the floor plans of her home. I knew I had mapped out her route to the subway. All of these things that were such a part of who she was because of this New York rhythm that she lived as a Manhattan girl. So when I went back the second time, I had already written the book. I was in edits, and it was unbelievable. So I want to show you a little bit first of Cadie's neighborhood. There's a whole lot of New York in this book, and one of the main places is Cadie's neighborhood, which is in the West Village, basically. Here, I will show you. She lives on Bleecker Street. There's the Magnolia Bakery right there that she frequents. She loves the banana pudding. I fully intend to go get some in a moment. Oh yeah, right there's the Magnolia Bakery. Right there's the bookmark. Come on, let's go. There's some shoes. Yeah, I didn't really research all that. That's not Cadie's style so much. Cadie's style was the Magnolia Bakery. But if you'll come this way, 396, this is Cadie McCaffrey's home. So, I'm gonna get that. This is definitely where Cadie lives. We have a lot of scenes of her stepping out onto the street, looking down Bleecker Street. She's very near the subway, which is a good thing because we're gonna go hop on it here in a minute. Are you like that close to me? Heavens to Betsy. If you've seen the book cover, you've seen the boombox on the cover of Wooing Cadie McCaffrey. Yeah, the boombox, obviously, represents Say Anything, and there is a Say Anything moment in which, spoilers, Will Whitaker is out here with a boombox trying to get Cadie's attention. I won't tell you what happens, but it's kind of a comedy of errors, and it all happens right here. I wish there was a way to get in there.
But we couldn't.
Should we try?
We couldn't hire a realtor.
Or a lawyer. And we don't have bond money, bail money, so it's probably not gonna happen this trip. But this trip, next year, yeah, there's an awesome little like courtyard
in the back there for residents, and it's just a charming little place that she would not be able to afford on her own. Her parents bought her this apartment. She's very self-sufficient and independent apart from that, but she did take her parents' gift of an apartment in Greenwich Village. So there we are. We are in Cadie's neighborhood.
So by having all of that in my head when I wrote, I was able to walk Cadie's life, and having the floor plan of her apartment and stuff. Even when I was mapping out scenes that were happening in the apartment, I was able to choreograph them as if I had the set. I knew the set. But also it's like knowing her motivation to cross the street and go to Magnolia Bakery and how convenient that is for her. And so when there's a point in the story where she's considering maybe leaving her apartment for some very specific reasons, she's thinking of all that she would lose, including the proximity to the subway and including losing banana pudding. But on this trip, I also got to I got to see a lot of other places in the book, which was so exciting to me. I got to go visit the homes of Kevin Lamont and Will Whitaker. Will Whitaker is our hero in this story, one of my favorite leading men that I've ever had the privilege to write. And so take a look at this.
Kevin is Cadie and Will's boss at ASN, where they work. Kevin and Ellis very much are Will's support team for trying to get Cadie back. A whole lot of stuff happens, but Cadie has some major realizations here. Cadie talks about how much she loves his house. You pull into I'll show you in a second. The Hudson River's like right there. We're near the Holland Tunnel, but it has these cobblestone mews and that Cadie talks about and how much she loves coming here. This is where Will Whitaker lives. It's Morningside Heights. He comes to his apartment with Kevin and Ellis. They come here one night to attend a party that his roommate is throwing. Long story as to why they're doing that. But, it's way uptown from where anyone else in the book lives. They're all very downtown, and this is very uptown. We're on 109th Street. This building is where he lives, and they have to walk up the floors to get there. We have lots of Kevin and Ellis comedy happening, but this is where Will lives. It's weird, guys. It's weird because I researched so much and have everything exactly picked out before I ever wrote the book on this one, so I feel like I already know it. I'm like, yeah, that's it.
So like I said, it was very surreal being able to be in those neighborhoods because I had mapped it out so much ahead of time that it was also real to me. Even before I was really walking around in it. So being there and I saw it all unfold sort of like a movie. I mean, definitely like a movie on one hand, but on the other hand, even more than a movie. These were real people to me, because I knew them so intimately. So being there was really, really, really special. And then I also got the opportunity to go to Cadie's favorite diner in New York, Sarge's, which plays a pretty pivotal role in the story as well. So check that out. But I'm at Sarge's Delicatessen, which is on 3rd in Manhattan. Cadie's favorite deli in New York. So we're checking it out. Yeah, this is so much Cadie McCaffrey's favorite deli that when things go sour between her and Will Whitaker, he bribes her, that's not right. He woos her, thus the name. He tries to woo her with pastrami. And then one of my absolute favorite moments of that trip to New York, and one of my favorite New York moments of all time, and right up there with one of my favorite moments ever, was actually riding the Staten Island Ferry, which doesn't seem like a huge thing. There are New Yorkers who do it every day. And much like, for Cadie, the Staten Island Ferry is just how you get from Manhattan to Staten Island. You know, that's the point of it. There's no romance to it for her. But I think there is a lot of romance built in for some of us who view New York romantically and not in the reality always. And so being on the Staten Island Ferry, I'll share a little bit of that with you, and then I'll talk a little bit more about that experience. Hey guys, I'm on the Staten Island Ferry. That's my view. What do you think of that? Absolute favorite scene in the entire book takes place on the Staten Island Ferry. Rich rom-com history, but I'm making it my own. Will and Cadie have a very pivotal scene on the ferry. It is my absolute favorite, and I can't wait for you guys to read it. So yeah, it was actually pretty overwhelming to me, and I think a lot of that was because of the scene that happens on the Staten Island Ferry that is so special to me. It's actually a scene that didn't come up until edits. I did not write this scene in my first draft, and then my editor was pushing for a little more of some particular things, and that came up, and they ended up on the Staten Island Ferry together, and it became my absolute favorite scene. And it captured so much romance of various movies, but also this very particular, special to only Cadie and Will romance of this life in New York, this rhythm, like I said. And it was just such an honor to be able to walk in their steps. That's really how it felt. And it really changed me in a lot of ways, the experience of writing this book and this method of research, which I may not always be able to do for every book, but like even the book that I have written since then that is currently in edits and will be coming out in 2020, I have the floor plans, I have their neighborhoods, I have the apartments picked out, I'm looking at them, I have them everywhere when I'm writing these pictures and diagrams and various things, because it has helped me capture them, the characters, so much. So hopefully I'll always get to take these trips, but I know in this particular case with Wooing Cadie McCaffrey, I don't think the book would have ended up being what it was to me, or hopefully what it will be to readers, without having walked in their shoes a little bit. So that's a little bit about my writing life. And I do hope you'll check out Wooing Cadie McCaffrey. Maybe you'll go back and watch some of this after you've read the book. And there's more on my YouTube channel and on my Facebook page that you can access, as far as even more places that I went in New York. But it really, hopefully this gives you just a glimpse into my process. And I was really excited to share it with you today. And hopefully it will make Cadie and Will and the rest of the characters and the situations in Wooing Cadie McCaffrey come alive for you a little more, just like it did for me. Thanks, guys. See you later.